question in the chat box by Sravani Mishra. She says science cannot ensure real happiness, but we are in the world of science. What to do?
No, the intention of science is happiness only. I have a TV to be switched on. I don't want to go there. I have a remote. But that remote gives me a control on the TV, makes me idle. So what is science contribution? Science contribution is Brahma has given me different indriyas. All science contributes to me to say that these indriyas are useless. How can I reduce the use of indriya so that I can still become usage of the indriya is done, or maybe the perception can be done. But ultimately it is going to be, I keep funnily saying, once upon a time television was too fat and people were lean. Now today television became lean and people become fat. So that's a contribution of technology and science. But that doesn't give me ultimate happiness. So science is not to give you ultimate happiness. It's a temporary happiness. What gives you ultimate happiness? Which will never make me to think, oh, I should not have done it. Microwave oven, wonderful. So you are able to heat it up. Now Srinivas ji was asking the effect of radiation. I am sure every microwave oven, when they give you the equipment, there is a small strip written there. Pregnant ladies are not supposed to operate. When you are carrying, don't operate. I have done experiments to find out microwave oven has got a radiation effect of nearly 3 feet. 1 meter away, if you don't stand, your fetus inside your tomb can be having different problems. The radiation effect is so harsh, that is why it is able to heat it up fast. The frequency level in which work is entirely different. When you use the mobile phone, most of the time I keep it on a stand. And when I get a telephone, I will only put it on to speaker mode. I don't use it here. Because when you keep it here, there are a lot of experiments which shows your brain cells are being expanded because of the radiation pull. One cell doesn't go back. Most of the time when it is getting expanded, it gets back to its original style. But if that misses by chance, one cell in a different form, different size is what causes cancer. Then it starts spreading. One cell is good enough. You don't know when it will happen. So we are always under the different radiation. Is it not a big false thing which we are doing? So science gives you comfort, but in a longer term, it gives you a lot of discomfort. So we need to be very careful. Very careful in using what science gives to a minimum. You cannot live without radiation, but can you reduce the extent in which you are keeping it closer to you? That's it. Because constant radiation for a longer term only can affect an adult person. Young children, they can affect more. Babies in the tomb, from that stage up to the childhood, that's why we keep saying keep it away, keep it away. So there are a lot of blessings with the science, but only short term, not long term. Long term happiness I don't want. The richest people in the world also don't use cell phones. But we cannot live without that today. Many of them.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your beautiful response. Well, we have with us Professor Dhaneshwar Sahu, sir. If he wants to make some observation or if he has some question in mind, he is welcome. But he should present himself in 2 minutes. Yes.
I was really inspired by listening to the talk of Professor Dr. Shashi Kumar. Some questions come to my mind while I was listening to you. Sir, when you, in the context of Shastra, can we take it as literature or as scripture? Usually, its connotational meaning is either scripture or literature. But you give, I think, you give a stipulated meaning of Shastra. And the second thing is, you say happiness is, or contentment that is ultimate. To my mind, the very idea that ultimate happiness is a myth. There are degrees of happiness, we can say, or degrees of contentment, but nothing can be considered as ultimate happiness. And in the context of a Sri Aurobindo's view, quoting Sri Aurobindo's view, that there is a physical level, there is a psychic level, there is a spiritual level. Do you think they are incompatible to each other, or they can be reconciled to one concept of a being? When we think of one concept of being, we can have the physical dimension, we can have the mental dimension, we can have the psychic dimension or a spiritual dimension, and Aurobindo has also given the idea of so many aspects of mental level to which man can gradually evolve till he achieves supermanhood. These are some of my few observations that came to my mind. So you can start clarifying.
Beautiful. When we call Shastra in Bharatiya context, once upon a time, all that was written by our rishis, munis, acharyas, as poets, all of them had science inside, which is to purify life, to give solutions to problems. Maybe after the so-called seers and saints and acharyas converted themselves from the scientist position to only art lovers, the Shastra to art, they have downgraded themselves. Probably Kalidasa time onwards. Before that, they were not describing ladies and nature alone. It was not stories. It was all content with lifelong lessons. That is where we started using today's literature and compare that with the earlier literature. No. Earlier, the scriptures had Shastra. Without Shastra, there is no scripture. Probably the small chanting which we have in our temple, if you look at closely, there is a lot of science inside. Yojananam sahasre dveshate dveja yojane ekena nimishardhena kramamana namastude. This is one chanting in the temple priest, but while taking bath. But it is velocity of light. Yojananam sahasre dveshate dveja yojane. 2202 yojana. Distance is given. Ekena nimishardhena, half of a nimisha. Time is also given. Any physics fellow will divide it and get it velocity. So that chanting was only literature for many people, even today. But if you know the meaning, that literature becomes a beautiful Shastram. So that Shastram is understanding the literature more scientifically, which is what? Lokanam upakaraya. Not for temporary happiness, but for a longer happiness. That is what explanation which I have to give you on the scripture, literature, Shastra, and that. And second question I think was the happiness. What is happiness? I'll tell you, there was a great philosopher who was going behind a small boy who was picking up starfish from the seashore and then throwing to the sea. And this philosopher said, what are you doing? Will you think that you can make all the starfish to escape? When you throw into the sea, another wave will take the starfish again back to the seashore. And seashore is too big. I told you, philosophy people will not give you immediate solution. They will talk about philosophy. So they will tell you the seashore is so big, so large. And are you able to solve all the problems in the world? Every starfish cannot be saved. Then why are you wasting time? This kept on going. This small boy looked at the professor and said, who is wasting time now? Anyway, I am not going to listen to you. Let me pick up the starfish and throw to the sea. He kept on continuing. Philosophy professor kept on giving lecture. But after some time, the boy said, for this starfish, for a moment, it makes difference. And he is throwing. For that moment, what the starfish get is happiness. For some people, happiness is a long-term phenomena and they forget the momentary life. For me, this moment when I am talking here, when Professor Dhaneshwar asked me a question, I am able to answer it. That happiness I will remember. Probably tomorrow my tongue will not work. I am on an easy chair in my old age. I will still remember, oh, I had a good time with Jimmy. I had a good time with Meenakshi. I had a good time with Arvind. I had a good time with Srinivas ji, who referred me. I know how to cherish my old days. That happiness is good enough. This momentary happiness today can be redefined as and when my abilities goes down and down. Still I can find happiness. So human being have this cherishing ability. That's why I keep saying cherish your happiness. That is much more happier than the momentary happiness. But today you have to keep something in your credit so that tomorrow again you can cherish. So the sequence of such successful cherishable moments. Earlier Rauji was asking, is it my success or somebody's success which I have to compare? I forgot to answer that. Now I am answering. A success of successes in my life is the ultimate success in my life. I don't care what others talk about me. If I can understand that happiness, that moments which I can create in my life, I will lift my hand on my back and say, well done, Dr. TPS. At the end of every class, I do that. It's not that somebody has to tell me that I am good. If I can tell today, I have done good. Each one of you. I'm sure there will be a lot of people who are, oh, I should have spoken. I should have asked this question. I missed the opportunity. Yesterday we had a beautiful song program. Today I got at least 3-4 people. I would have also sang, but I missed it. Who asked you not to sing? You would have jumped into the water. No. Water is there. Water is not telling don't do it. It's your ability to jump. You did not jump. I did not push anybody. Understood? If you don't show me the video, I may not even call the names. If the video is there, I will call you. Otherwise, your absence is shown, not the presence is shown. Your presence is shown only when you are present. Otherwise, your absence is shown with your name, KRP, etc., etc., which I don't believe. Attending webinar should be with your presence, not absence. Now, coming back to the fivefold development. Emotional, intellectual, social, spiritual, physical, everything is related. Hadayoga Pradipika clearly says, Sharira Manaso Yoga Paraspara Manuvrajit Adhara Adheya Bhavena Taptajya Kadayoriva. The body and the mind is such related, the burthen and the oil inside. The oil is hot, burthen will be hot. The oil is cold, the vessel also will become cold. So, manas and the body is like that. But I cannot tune my manas, so I have to tune my body sometime. That is what is yoga practice does sometime. I don't know how, when I get angry, when I am in a hurry, when I am in a worry, eat more curry, my number of breathing will change. I cannot change it. So what do? I do pranayama so that I control my breath. So that when my emotion wanted me to take more oxygen from the body, emotion demands body. Breathe more. And then I will tell you, no, I will take a deep breath and know how to control it. If you did not learn, heart attack will come. If you learned the trick, then heart attack will not be there. Now, emotionally, I am upset. Somebody is asking me what is the time. But I am sad mood. Some close relative of mine is dead. Do you think I will answer that? It's not an intellectual question. I cannot answer. Don't ask me to solve mathematical problem when I am into deep sorrow. So my emotion and my buddhi is totally related. When I get angry, I'll tell you, I told you 100 times. No, you should not ask back. You told 100 times or only 2 times. Your number system also goes wrong. Mathematics doesn't work there. So buddhi is, and definitely the society in which we are living is impacted by our physique, emotion, intellect. If you are conscious about it. So if you are not conscious, you know how to control your societal presence with the deficiency in intellect, social and physical concept also. Otherwise, some people are more concerned about this, your social life also goes. And spirituality, that is what ultimately when you become more spiritual, you forget about. I don't think somebody looks at the beauty of the guru. Somebody doesn't look at whether he gets angry or not. Somebody doesn't look at the guru's emotional attachment to you. They only look at that spiritual content which he prescribes. But assume you are physically fit, you are also emotionally concerned and show love to somebody, and you are logically good, and you are spiritually higher. That fivefold development is what every one of us have to aim. So it need not guarantee, but if I have to talk about a compound, I have to talk about the components inside the compound. Then I understand something better about the compound. That is why it's only for analysis. That is why we keep saying Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manonmaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, Koshamaya, Shuddhyandam. That need to be cleaned. But how do I clean it? Pranavana, Vyanodhana, Samaname, Shuddhyandam. My breathing has to be cleaned. My Sankalpa, me Shuddhyandam. My thought process has to be cleaned. Is it possible? No. Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, me Shuddhyandam. Everything has to be clean. My indriyas has to be clean. Chakshusrotra grana jihwaredo buddhyagriti sankalpame shuddhyandam. I need to clean my indriyas. So this is a big process. If you want to understand this alone, it's a big science. So I told you the spiritual concept, fivefold development itself can be explained perfectly, individually different. The food what you eat definitely have effect on your emotional structure. The food what the lady eats on the day of conceiving the child will determine the character of the child. Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter, the modern science is microbiotics and macrobiotics. You are what you eat. You are what you eat. The basic character. Your lifestyle changes based on your eating patterns. So these are all understood. Traditionally it is understood. Midam bhuktva shatam japtva padashatam shanai vama bhage shainasya bishagim kim prayojanam. Why do you require a doctor when you have got a discipline in your life? It is much bigger than most of the yoga practices people are doing. That is also science of life. Yoga is a science of life. Understood perfectly, it is a full science of life. In terms of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. In that case, same physical, emotional, intellectual, social, spiritual can be understood. Samadhi, when you reach, you are spiritual. The physical exercise, when you do, you are physical. Emotional control is done by prana. Prana bandhanat liyate mana. Ramana Maharshi, beautifully he says. Prana bandhanat liyate mana. But is it that simple? Jala pakshivat dinarodhanam. It's like you are putting a bird in a nest. As it is open, it will fly away. So unless it becomes your regular practice and you are characterized by your actions, it becomes swa-adhyayam, self-learning, and becomes practiced with that for longer time. Probably some effect will come in your daily life. Beautiful. Beautiful question. Thank you for the wonderful questions. I'm so glad today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your response.
Rina,
sir. Very nicely done. Your starfish example, sir. Beautiful one, and it gives a very beautiful message that we cannot help everybody, but everybody can help someone, and that defines the happiness for that boy. And the happiness lies in helping that one starfish. At least he can make a difference to that one starfish. So that's how. Thank you, sir. Very nicely done. Thank you. Now, well, I have a question in the chat box. It is by Reena Puradkar.
Why Reena is not appearing? I wanted to see her. Reena is making lot of comments. Reena can show the face.
Does science accept intuition? And she again corrects herself and says, does science accept mystical intuition?
It's a beautiful question. What is intuition? Every scientist agrees that it is intuition what gave him discovery. There is no rule. What is science? Ayurveda prescribes lot of medicines. I will give you one of the simplest medicine which is made in Ayurveda. There is one place close to Jemmy Matthews neighboring area, Kuttattukulam. Jemmy nearby that, right?
Yes.
Kuttattukulam, there is a Sridhariyam Ayurveda Vaidyashala. night blindness, retinus. I am not giving advertisement for that hospital. The retinitis pigmentosa, which is called night blindness. The cone of vision keep on reducing. I remember one boy was consulting the best hospital. Hyderabad is well known for best hospitals, eye hospitals. Most of the best eye hospitals are in Hyderabad. He was continuously showing in many hospitals. And all the hospitals prescribed him thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker glasses. He came to me on an evening because his father happens to be he was 3 years, 4 years old. Father was my friend. I told him, I don't know what is the problem, but I want Saundarya Lahari to be practiced in your house for 10 days. That's my prescription. Because Saundarya Lahari of Shankaracharya is supposed to be the first medical book in India probably, which has got solution for most of the problems. And then we did a puja for 10 days. So systematically 10,000 times chanting. One sloka 10,000 times, 10 days. I don't know why I did it. That's an intuition. I don't know why I did it. But that connection connected me to somebody in this Kuttatukulam temple. Somebody suggested this is happening. There is a boy. The disease of the boy became famous because of the puja. And somebody told there is that person is coming to DK Hari, doctor is coming to Hyderabad. So he want to contact me because there was some connection, some relatives was close to him. He came to me and this boy was referred there. And they found out that it is retinitis pigmentosa, the eye cone vision, and they only had this medicine in the world. And he got back his vision. I don't know what connects were, how it happens. I never prescribed such puja for anyone. So that's an intuition which comes. The result need not be direct. There is an indirect result which comes there. Most of the time what the scientist does, any researcher does, if he has got intuition, he will be able to acquire what he can acquire otherwise. Do you think I learned all these and giving answer? I don't think I have learned any of this. It's only intuition. And that intuition connects to something which is disconnected in our life and makes us to grab. That is what we call it as the spiritual Atmiya energy in us. So intuition can be seen as an Atmiya energy. There are a lot of examples which I can give. I just thought of giving this because we are talking about a disease or medicines and all that. So I also wanted to introduce Saundarya Lahari if you are not introduced. There can be a lot of lessons. I have got a lot of lessons in my many dialogues. Individually some dialogues which I explained earlier also. There are some people here also, they know that how intuition worked in some cases. Yeah. Beautiful question, Rina. Yes, it's a beautiful question.
Thank you very much, sir. In the chat box, I find Dr. Srinivas Reddy Kattukuri. He
Yeah.
makes an observation that self-motivation brings long-term happiness. How do you see this?
See, if a small child is to be in front of my friends in the house, the visitors, I want a small child to sing a nursery rhyme, I can ask them, I will give you a chocolate or an ice cream. But when they are in the grade 1, 2, 3, 4, I can ask them or I can tell them, if you get first rank, I will give you a bicycle. Maybe when they are in graduation, I must tell them, I will give you a motorbike. So the motivation which is external, extrinsic motivation is always either materialistic or temporary. It doesn't stay with you for longer time. But those lessons in your life, when you capitalize the merit of it inside you, the message that these are given to you, when you understand, what you get is called self-motivation. So that comes only when you attain the maturity. So some children will get maturity much faster. Some people don't get maturity even when they become older. So it's a different maturity. For them, they need a hug, they need a kiss, probably they need somebody has to give certificates. That's what I'm saying. that is only an external thing which you don't have to care if you are matured enough.
Well, sir, thank you, sir. Thank you once again, sir. Well, Jimmy Matthew, she says, pranayam will not serve as a permanent solution to emotional problems if the external situations that surround us, they are not changed. How do you see this, sir?
See, any performance depends on three things. One is your environment. Second one is your attitude. Third one is your skill. I am a skilled person, put me in a wrong place also, I know how to survive. If my attitude supports me. So, your environment is not correct. Somebody asked me the other day when I was talking in a yoga practice, is it good to do yoga pranayama? I said, don't do it in Hyderabad if you don't have a air purifier nearby you. If I am doing a pranayama, see, some stupid sannyasis are there in India. They have got one Sri is not good enough. They add 3-4 C's. They keep their prefix as SAD, sad. You can read it in different style. They all teach you how to take a breath from one nose like this. See, what am I doing by breathing like this with one nose with the full force? The nose is given to control the temperature in the atmosphere. When it reaches inside your lungs, the temperature has to be adjusted to your body. Outside temperature, body temperature is different. When I breathe like this, like a pressure pump goes inside, what is happening? The temperature is not controlled. You are taking it to the lungs with the full of dirt from the atmosphere. Because the full atmosphere has got lot of small dirt. All the particles will go inside. You will become a lung diseased person sooner or later. This is totally unscientific. But you get an immediate benefit. Nose blockage will go. Fantastic. But that doesn't serve you. I can give the definition in a controlled environment. So environment matters. I can run. But if you run in a polluted city, what will happen? Your breathing rate automatically changes when you run. So in a polluted city, when you are running, your breathing is full of toxins. When you take a lot of toxin, you get hallucination. You get intoxicated. You get addicted. Every day you will run in the same road. So most of the people go for regular, and you know, when they come back, they will tell you, give me a glass of water, I am not able to walk. They become so tired. You cannot go from your hall, visitor's room to the dining hall to fetch water for you, and you are so tired, but outside you are running. Is it exercise? So sometimes we are overdoing things. Pranayama, physical exercise, which is acceptable for my body is what I have to take. Whichever is not acceptable to me, when I do it, it becomes over exercise. Adivyayama madakkaso jarasya dishjajayate etc. Hridayadyuparodascha. Adivyayam. What is Adivyayam for me? For Dr. TPS giving lecture like this for 6 hours is not Adivyayam. I am used to that. Today this is third lecture. Tomorrow I have got morning one, afternoon one, evening one. I am not tired. But if you ask me to go on to the sun and then work for 3 hours, I will become tired. But the servant maid can do that. But servant maid cannot do this. If you ask her to give a lecture, she will become overtired. Some people will collapse. So what is acceptable to you is what is good for you. That is why midahara, mida, yukta, yuktahara, everything is told like this. So adivyayam, which is not acceptable to you, becomes adivyayam. Adivyayam, what it will result in? Jwaram, shardi, ultimately hridayadyuparodascha, heart attack will come to you. So have to be very careful. Some people don't understand the theory. They only know the practical. It is like an ITI person servicing your scooter without knowing how the engine works. Understood? If you know how the engine works, the servicing becomes much better. So you need both theory and practical. That is why Bhagavan gave karma and jnana, and do it with the full devotion. Enjoy it. If you cannot fold your legs and then sit in Padmasana, Don't force it yourself. Don't force it yourself. Sukha Sthira Asanam is Asanam. And my guru kept on telling, don't hold your breath because it doesn't belong to you. Whatever is not yours, you should not even hold for a second. So it should be Tailadhara Pranayama. If you want to learn Pranayama, look at Dr. TPS. Still I made the name Pranayama. Don't even practice it. I'll tell you, you lie down in your bed and just listen to that for some time. Then decide how you should do it by yourself. Then you will find out what is yuktam for you. Lie down on the bed, keeping your tummy on the bed, and feel the tummy goes up and down. The feeling is good enough to control your breath. The breathing practice is the feeling of breath. Are you able to feel that you are breathing? You are conscious about the breathing. If you are conscious about the breathing, automatically you are controlled. You are conscious about getting angry, then your anger will be controlled. You are conscious about you are being recorded when you are talking, then your talk becomes much purified. Life is like that. You are conscious. That's why Bharatiya Shastram gives importance to consciousness. Be conscious. But when you hold the breath, carbon dioxide is what is holding inside, not the air. Understand? Air has got 16% or 20% oxygen, say. 0.4% carbon dioxide. When you are taking inside, many Swamijis I heard saying, take oxygen inside. I don't know which filter is this only to take oxygen inside. Air goes inside with all the parameters, all the content. When you take it inside and you are aware of going that inside your body, when you breathe out, pranavana vyanodhana samaname shuddhyandam. When you breathe it out, the 20% oxygen becomes 16% oxygen. 0.4 carbon dioxide becomes 4.04%. So that 4% of oxygen gets converted into carbon dioxide because the body is totally impure. That is what is happening. But once you are holding, what will happen? You heard some stupid Swamiji saying you are holding oxygen. You are not holding oxygen. You are holding carbon dioxide. As it goes inside, already it became carbon dioxide. What are you holding carbon dioxide? When you hold carbon dioxide, hallucination. Then you will see tinkling stars, violet light. And Guru will tell you got spirituality. Actually, that spirituality can be got by kanja also. Maybe you are a good drunkard, you take a lot of liquor, you will get that spirituality. That is not spirituality. People have missed to call this. So you must understand the science of breathing. Hada Yoga Pradipika. That's the best book. And Lord of Ramana Maharshi has dealt it thoroughly. There are 2-3 lectures on this. Ramana Maharshi's. Look at Dr. TPS Ramana Maharshi on my YouTube, you will see lectures. And that star which I just told, that starfish. Look at starfish, Dr. TPS. I gave a beautiful picture and then made it into a story and posted some time back. So, that's it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Beautiful, sir. Beautiful response, sir. Very nice, sir. Sir, actually, one response I see, one observation I see in the chat box. Well, if you permit, I will ask, sir.
Yeah, anything. It's your program.
Yes, it is by Dr. Lakshmi Pradeep N. The observation is something like this. The Shastra of life that you speak of cannot be proved. Vis-a-vis the science of life, it can be proved. A similar question has been posed by Dr. Kailachandra Maharana. How to make a clear-cut distinction between the science of life and the philosophy of life, and how do you say this? Your final words on this, sir. Because no more questions, the final analysis on this subject, sir.
See, I told you, life, when you look at in the day-to-day affair, which we wanted to talk about now, the breathing practice, food practice, exercise, these are all science of life. These are all science of life. When I talk about the philosophy of life, the purpose of my life as a creation, then it becomes much bigger. See, what is art of life? Assume I have a small flower. You do a dissection and then find out all the spare part of that. that becomes science on flower. That is botany. But then you describe the beauty of the flower, it becomes literature. Now, when you talk about the purpose of the flower and why is it blooming at night, and why is it white in the night, why it doesn't have green color, why the different colors are there, and the whole spectrum of flowers, when you discuss, it becomes philosophy. That is what the difference. When you talk about simple aspect of lungs, how does it work, kidney, how does it work, this is only science. But how am I enjoying my cup of tea? Science cannot explain. How my indriyas are being captured by some beautiful scenery. How am I writing poetry? How am I writing quotes on life? Why did I speak on flower today and Aurobindo? Yesterday or day before yesterday, I just wrote a flower. One beautiful quote I wrote with a beautiful flower there and then posted it. That gave me some intuition of thinking around it today. What made me to think about it? Don't ask me that. There is no science on this. That is only art. But when I generalize it and I spoke today, that became philosophy of life. Because I compare one jiva with another jiva, one creature with another creature, how that become the divine spirituality of a flower which Aurobindo spoke came to my brain. I don't know when I did it, long back. So some connections keeps coming. And that connection makes me to think about Aurobindo. I generally don't even speak of Aurobindo. By mistake, Delhi, one of the colleges called me on August 15th to speak. That college happens to be Aurobindo's name. Then that day I asked, is it today only Independence Day or do you have any speciality on this day because you being the Aurobindo college? None of them don't even remember Aurobindo's birthday. I said he left politics and became spiritual man, that's why people don't care. Integral Yoga is so much famous, we don't have so many proponents behind them. Many other yogas which are all useless is being propagated much higher and bigger and marketed. Because marketing is in the world. Business is in the world. So we don't understand the merit. So when you understand the merit of it, you are thinking higher and higher. That gives you a different look. That does not give you facts. Temporary acceptance is fact. The ultimate truth, when you wanted to see, you want to go deeper and deeper and deeper. That's what we are doing today. I just posted my telephone number there and website there. You can go to my website. That will link you to my blogs. There are more than 60-70 blogs. All my books which I mentioned here, Life of Love, Life Made Simple is a discussion on Orkut. Rhythm of Life is another poetry book. All of them are there on my education book is also there. Emotional Intelligence, there is one book. Adaptive Learning, there is one book. All of them are available on internet. And this is another one, Raising of India by the Rays of India. Raising of India by the Rays of India. Another one is Daily Rituals, the Nitya Sloka. What from morning till evening can be chanted to make your life little more religiously practiced so that it gives a path towards spirituality. Understanding the meaning, each of these slokas are explained in my blog. There are a lot of articles written for many people across the globe. Many such things will be in the blog. So you can connect to the blog, you can connect to my YouTube, all of them through my website. If Mrs. Dr. TPS, that's my name, DR for doctor, TPS, temperature pressure second. I was also in police service with the Department of the Prime Minister's office. So top police service. Or today what I am doing is connecting to teachers, parents and students. So TPS stands for teachers, parents and students. So I was a scientist, temperature pressure second. I was in police, top police service. Now what I am doing is teaching teachers, parents and students. So Dr. TPS, don't forget I don't think anybody who attended my class can forget me in their life. Try if you can. Then connect me, I will be available to you. We have got every Sunday regular. Some of the participants here like Jimmy, Lakshmi, Meenakshi, I'm seeing only 3 in the picture. Srinivas was there, Arvind is there. All of them attend my Bhagavad Gita sessions. That is on Sunday. And there are so many such activities happening around. People keep following and learning, have discussions. I believe that as human being, why we are different from animals? Why we are different from animals? Because we are the only animal who can learn and teach. That makes us entirely different from other animals. So keep learning, keep discussing. If you miss the chance in your life, you become animal. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithunani, Samani Chaitani, Nranam, Pashunam. Pashu is animal, Nranam is human being. Pashu and Nranam are equal. Samanam. Aharam, for food both are equal. No. Animal eats only sufficient. We eat more than what is required. Nidra, animals will wake up, get up as soon as it wakes up. But human being sleeps, pretend that they are sleeping. Vivekananda said Tushni Bhava. Not sleeping but pretending that you are sleeping. Bhayam, animals have got bhayam only when it faces. We keep anticipating problems and have bhayam. Why there is a traffic jam? If traffic jam is there, what I will do? But when the road there is no traffic jam, we keep worrying. Why there is no traffic jam? Both are problem for us. Right? So, Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithunam, sex. Every animal think about sex only when it sees pair. But here, we keep imagining. More than Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithunani, Samani Chaitani, Nranam Pashunam, Jnanam Naranam Adhigo Vishesho. Knowledge is extra to human being. Jnane Bihina Pashubi Samana. If you don't have knowledge or any moment you are not learning, you are an animal. So if somebody did not learn anything a day, you can decide which animal you are. That freedom is with us. So try to live this human life, which is a very, very gifted life. And that is actually the philosophy and science of life. Use it ergonomically with the high potent, with high energy and efficiency. Nimisham Jolitam Sreyam Natu Dhumayitum Chiram. Show the fire. Don't close it and then make smoke out of it. The ability to fire, spark is in all of us. Use that ability. Ranjit साहब का पीछे देखो स्पार्क आ रहा, राइट? रंजित घोष साहब का पीछे पूरा स्पार्क है. ऐसा रहना है.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. The members of Philosophy family are really fortunate in having you today in the family. Thank you so much, sir. Well, I request our host and admin of Philosophy family, Professor Pramod Kumar Das, to make some observations because he is the man behind all these activities. I request Pramod Das to make that.
He is the man behind and the front also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, Pramod sir. Are you there?
Very active, very dynamic, so fast.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Audible and visible both.
I was really mesmerized by the wisdom of the great seer, the man of wisdom, Professor Shashi Kumar ji. Touching his feet, I shall just. I have no observation. I have no question. I shall just say what I received, what I learned. Sir, please mute. Shashi Kumar ji, please mute yourself. Yes. What I learned from his talk, what I received innocently, having an innocent mind like a child, having an empty mind, what I learned from his talk. he made a very beautiful discussion, reflection on the dimension of philosophy and science both. The depth of his knowledge, the height of his knowledge, and the width of his knowledge is really beyond any possible appreciation. In the first part of his talk, he said that philosophy is not merely speculation, philosophy is not merely analysis, philosophy is not getting any degrees, certificates, PhD, being a professor. Philosophy is not that we are taught by so many great teachers, or we are following so many scriptures. Philosophy, what philosophy is, I shall tell, but this is not philosophy. Similarly, science is not experiment in laboratory. Science transcends experiment, and that is experience. When we speak of science of life, that means we have very living experience of life. We have understanding of life in the scientific way. Similarly, philosophy enriches our understanding of life. Both philosophy and science contribute our understanding of life through experience. Philosophy is learned through experience. Science is also learned through experience. So that this is the dimension of philosophy and science. And when we speak of philosophy of life and we speak of science of life, we have to go beyond the domain of general understanding of philosophy and science as we really understand. So if both philosophy and science deal with experience of life, understanding of life, but their types are different. Philosophy makes us understanding the fact that I am full, I am full, I am Purna, I am happy, I am the source of happiness. I don't search happiness outside world, in the empirical world. I am full. I have nothing to fulfill because I have the sense of fulfillment. I am fulfilled. I am already filled up. This understanding is the experience that should be taught, that should be learned through philosophy. If philosophy does not teach us by reading philosophy for 40 years or by teaching philosophy for 50 years, then that is useless. Similarly, the science of life means, if at all I understand that I am full, I should execute, I should make my knowledge functional, I should live accordingly in this empirical world. As philosophy makes me understand that I am full, similarly science makes me understand that this world is transitory, this world is relative. Everything is nothing outer, nothing the other, nothing empirical can give me satisfaction, can give me happiness. That is transitory, that is relative. So these two things, two types of understandings go side by side. That I am full, it is understood by philosophy. That everything is transitory, everything is subject to change, everything is relative. That science teaches us, and that is the declaration of science, because science declares that scientific knowledge is subject to revision. There is no prediction of the future. Everything is subject to change. This knowledge is gained by science. And that is the purpose of life. If I feel that I am fulfilled, if I understand that I am fulfilled, if I realize that I am fullness, I am full, I am purna, then that can be realized only when I am happy. And a happy person can make others happy, and an unhappy person can make others unhappy, because I am nothing other than the other. So the crisis is that we are not only unhappy, we make others unhappy. Because we can be, because we are unhappy, we cannot see the happiness of others. Therefore, we fail to enjoy our work. We fail to enjoy wisdom, and we fail to enjoy devotion. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Jnana Karma Bhakti Samuchaya. That means your knowledge is useless if it is not translated in action, and your action is useless if it is not backed by your wisdom. And both wisdom and action are useless if you don't have love, sense of love, compassion, sacrifice, tolerance. So there are two types of values. One is the customary value and the cardinal value. Philosophy is the source of that cardinal value, that I am that value, and I should live the life of that value. And the ultimate value is peace, happiness, tranquility of mind, that I am sthita, my prajna is sthita, my understanding of life is sthita. If I understand my life, then I should live with that understanding at every moment, that I shall not be fluctuated. Any fluctuation is an accident. If I fluctuate at any point, suppose I am driving a car, if at any moment I feel sleepy and I close my eye, then there will be an accident. Similarly, our mind should remain meditative at all the time. That mind is a happy mind. So, Sir gave a very beautiful example that who is a happy person? Two persons are happy. Those who know nothing, that like a child does not have any degree, does not have any certificates, he has no PhD, he has no philosophy, no science, no sense of anything. That empty mind is happy. And the other person is who knows everything, who knows the totality. And in between the emptiness and fullness, we all people trade with rationality, logical minds, contradictions, analysis, perspectives, my view, your view, that view, this ism, that ism. We have to learn to be happy from our own perspective. If we try to be happy from the perspectives of others, we can't be. It is impossible. Suppose Professor Sasikumarji is speaking something, it is accepted. I am happy. If Pramodji is speaking the same thing, I am not happy. So that means it depends who is speaking. That means that person is not happy if he is not happy within. Suppose I am watching a cinema, I am watching a film. Amitabh Bachchan may be a superstar, but a neutral mind, a happy mind will enjoy even the acting of a junior actor. Junior actor, how he plays his role. For 2 minutes, he plays his role for 2 minutes. But he may act 100 times better than Amitabh Bachchan. but we are biased by the role of Amitabh Bachchan because he's superstar. That means we are happy from other perspectives. The perspective of our happiness should be our own. Because I am the source of happiness. I am the source of wisdom. I am the source of devotion. I am the source of love. I am that fullness. Everything is with me. This understanding is the philosophy. And the other part is that everything is transitory. Everything is Kshanabhangavada. Everything exists for a moment. This experience of life. And both these understandings should be experienced in life. That experience is the ultimate goal of life. So the experience is both the way and the goal. We have to experience the goal through the experience of the ways. If everything is transitory, then I should be detached from the transitory perspective of the empirical world, and I should be attached with that permanent entity. I learned this. I may be wrong. Now, please, Shashi Kumar ji, sir, please you tell whether I am your disciple or not. Did I follow you or not? Thank you, sir.
See, sometime I was blessed to be with great gurus. I am a disciple of Swami Rama, Himalayan tradition, Swami Vedabharati, Mahamandaleshwar. I was also with Brahmashri KPC Anajan Bhattadripad in terms of Tantra Shastram. I learned my Vastu, astrology from different gurus, many therapies from different people. So it's not looking from one point of view. I was academically interested to learn different aspects. And I was blessed with a lot of people around. Today probably 3 lectures, but more than that I had got 2 hours for somebody to have their personal problems discussing. So it's a collection of, there are a lot of people who are very rich. They've got bangla hai, sab hai uska paas, but happiness nahi hai. So what they want is, they wanted to know how to become a social service oriented person. So today a young lady was talking to me today. So a lot of people, they find that maybe enjoyment, they go behind the small things. So this bigger perspective is what, when we advise a lot of people, when we listen to those, it's only reflections. So what I do is not knowledge, I'm only reflecting. Maybe what I spoke in the beginning is some theory which I learned, but all the answers which I gave is only, the questions came, so I was reflecting. So that reflection, manam, darpana saman. Mind is like a darpana, mirror. That is what Shankaracharya said. So I as a person is only a mirror. If it is polished well, probably Pramodji liked it. If it is not polished, you have a blurred view. So I am not a good communicator. It doesn't mean there is no reflection, but the communication becomes less. And some people have got a focus, convex, concave. They exaggerate something. Sometimes they make it so small. Focus is also lost. So it's a balanced view is what, as Pramodji said, I love to learn. So I'm an open person who learns from talking to people, dialoguing with the people. So I'm blessed that I'm with so many learned people. So a lot of things came. So those discussions made me to think and reflect. So that becomes an additional knowledge for me. That's why I record my talk. That's why I edit it and put it onto YouTube. So this also will be there after editing. So I listen to, here there is no editing at all, because some places there will be some lagging, some that I edit. Otherwise as it is, it can be posted. So I am blessed to be with so many, I love questions. So I am so glad that there are a lot of questions today, and then I could reflect in some of them in my way. Whether that was convex or concave or plane, it's up to you to decide. So pranams to each one of you for the wonderful opportunity given to me to be part of this family. making me accepting into this platform itself is, I also learned MA philosophy little in my life. I couldn't write exam because I had official meetings, so I missed it. Then I left my city. Otherwise, I am from a Tirupati Sri Venkateswara University. I am an MA philosophy. Only exam certificate I don't have, but I lost those. No values of certificates is not with me, so I didn't collect it. That's it. So I'm a learner. I love to learn. Sometimes certificates gives you an opportunity to be a serious learner because you have a target to finish. That way it is good. Thank you all of you for the kindness, being kind to me like this. That's it.
Thank you, Dr.
And if I don't do well, Srinivas ji will have a wrong. So I have to satisfy him. That is only thing which I did. Thank you. Pranams to you, Srinivas ji.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words of wisdom. Now, let us hope to Dr. Kailash Chandra Maharana for taking on, carrying on the further course of action.
Today I am spellbound with the wisdom and the reflective thought and talk of Guruji Dr. Dipesh. We are honored with his presence, and I have nothing to speak because I am spellbound. And I was listening his talk like mantra mugdha. Okay, over to Dr. K. Umlan Rao to propose a hearty vote of thanks and gratitude to Guruji Dr. Dipesh and other audience. Over to Dr. Rao.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Maharana, for giving me another opportunity to say something. So at first I would like to thank Dr. T.P. Sasikumar sir for his words of wisdom. And actually, after a long time, I think I have come across such a lecture. The lecture is so composed, and the pattern sir has answered, and the examples and the analogies that he has given, taking the real life situations, are really inspiring, and we should learn a lot from him. And philosophic families, the members are really fortunate for having Professor Sasikumar with us, and he's with our family, and we'll be looking at him for more and more lectures in this family, subject to the availability of his time, whether he can spare time for us or not, I don't know. But we'll be, the philosophy family would be, indebted for all time to Professor Sasikumar for his lectures, for his words of wisdom. And I think those who are really interested in philosophy should learn from him, because he has the background from science, and also he has learning from the Himalayan masters. So his learning is full. He's not taking any side. He's taking a neutral course of action. He's not supporting science, not supporting any ism. He's a neutral mind and taking responding to all the questions, taking the situations into account and the context and the way he answers. So it is really beautiful, and anybody listening to him would become his shishya in the first instance itself. Because there is nothing, element of, a boring element in it. Every word that he talks makes sense, and they're always guiding us, motivating us, inspiring us, thinking of doing more and more. So thank you very much, sir, for teaching us what is life, how to lead a life, and and also defining life, and also guiding us to see how to see life. That is more important. Thank you very much, sir. So your learning has been shared with us. So we are philosophy family is greatly indebted to you for being connected with us and also sharing your words of wisdom. Thank you so much, sir. So I thank you so much, sir. I should also thank Professor Ranjit Ghosh, sir, Dhaneshwar Sahu, sir, Srinivasan Iyer, sir, and our admin Pramod Kumar Das, and our coordinator Dr. Kailash Maharana, sir, and Lakshmi Pradeep, and also Shravani Mishra, Jimmy Matthew, Srinivas Reddy, Dr. Srinivas Reddy Katuguri, and all others who took part during the course of interaction, and they posed many beautiful questions, and that made this session still more interesting. The lecture was very beautiful, and the interaction was the beauty of this. The entire webinar is the responses by Professor T.P. Sasikumar. So that made this entire webinar so successful. And I say from the core of my heart, after long days, I could listen to such a good lecture. Very nicely done, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So thanking everybody involved in this webinar. And also thank all the participants who are connected with us, the philosophy family, and also with this webinar. So thanking everybody. I should move to Dr. Kailas Maharana sir to carry on the further proceedings.
Okay, thanks so much, Dr. Rao, for beautiful moderating and offering gratitude to Dr. TPS. Now over to Professor Pramod Kumar Das, our admin and host, for the closure of the meeting.
We shall close this meeting with a declaration that for the first time we give this honor to Dr. Sasikumar ji as the regular speaker of the philosophy family. This is